Hey everyone, Joshua Kirk here with you once again. And now it's time for episode 223 of Album of the Day, in which for today's album review, I'm going to be reviewing the new Sophomore record by a British punk rock band that started out as kind of an underground cult favorite. And then they've turned into one of critics' favorite punk rock bands working today. Of course, I am talking about the band known as IDLES, who are praised by a lot of people for their politically charged lyrics and their ballsy energy and all of that. And I'm here to review their latest album, their sophomore record, which was released on August 31st of 2018. And the album is called Joy as an Act of Resistance. And as you can see, this is actually not the album cover for this record. Rather, this is like how the vinyl was made, which was with various pieces of artwork to go with each and every song, which I definitely think are really cool. But I'm not necessarily gonna show you those pieces of artwork, but I do but if you love this album, I highly recommend getting it on vinyl and checking out all the cool artwork, and also because it sounds really good on vinyl too. I finally got to listen to it just recently. And then there's the back. There's 12 songs on this album, and it's over 42 minutes. This album not only has, or this band, I should say, not only has plenty of love in the UK, but also they definitely got a little more US exposure now that they're signed to the label known as Partisan Records, where they re-released their debut album, Brutalism, and did all that. Anyway, this is how the gatefold looks like. There's all the band members right there. And it says on here, for Agatha, which, if you don't know who that is actually, unfortunately, Joe Talbot's daughter, whom he lost, which I'll go a little more in depth about that later in this review. And I really like how there's poems on here for each and every song. Sort of, some of them are very kind of angry or heartbreaking, and some are really hilarious. One of my favorites here is for the song Rottweiler. You will never be forgiven for what you've done. Seriously, I bleep and hate you. Tabloid cancer, yeah, I won't say that, but still, I couldn't agree more with that statement. And here's side A, and then there's side B. I like how it says F on the B side. Okay, that's my vinyl copy of Joy as an Act of Resistance, the new album by IDLES. So this band released their debut album, Brutalism, back in 2017, and I did get to listen to that album, and I definitely thought it was very good. One of the better punk albums of the decade, in my opinion. So I was definitely excited to hear what the band's next album, considering how great the previous record was. And I was hoping that on their next album they would improve, progress, and build upon that album. And with Joy as an Act of Resistance, they sure as hell did that. In fact, if you've watched my top 10 video for 2018, this is my second favorite album of the year. And I still stand by that thought, because it's definitely the album that I definitely wanted to hear in this very kind of tumultuous times, in these very tumultuous political times we're living in right now. The opening track on here is the song Colossus, which is also the first single that was released, and like this song is definitely one of the best album openers I've heard in 2018. Like the song seriously kicks ass. It opens up with this harrowing bass line that goes wah, wah, and Joe Talbot's vocal performance on that is sort of him talking about how he's made some mistakes in his life, and he's sort of telling those who may have felt betrayed by him that he is sorry for what he's done wrong, and he's sort of telling God, forgive me, and he's also sort of talking about how he's like dealt with depression and things like that. And as he sort of talks about those things, the song gets more and more intense. These machine gun drums and noisy guitars come in, and when it's paired with Joe's very powerful vocal performance, it's incredible. Like as he's shouting, "Goes and it goes and it goes, goes and it goes and it goes." Like, I definitely can feel the energy, and even more so when listening to this album on vinyl. Then all of a sudden, there's a moment in the song where all the instruments stop for a moment, and then right back into the madness with a more up-tempo but no less powerful end section with thundering gang vocals, as well as some references to Fred Astaire and people like that in its lyrics. Definitely a good example of how the band is at their most ambitious so far here on this record, creating some songs that are like 5.5 minutes. Then we have the song Never Fight a Man with a Perm, lovely title by the way, which in its title it does make some references to wrestling, which also you can see that in its lyrics too, and stuff like that. And it definitely shows itself really well as a great punk rock track. I love that opening riff. It's just so in your face and catchy. And I love how raw this song is too, and much of this album is really good for being so raw, because there are moments in the song where you'll hear Joe Talbot a little bit away from the microphone, sort of, shouting things, and it really does show that the band is willing to just speak their minds, warts and all, and they're not going to let some producer edit them or anything like that. And then when the chorus kicks in, it is definitely awesome, with some shouted vocals, concrete and leather, which is one example of the band sort of making subtle drug references in the song too. And I just love like how like noisy and just like in your face that chorus is. Definitely one of the best tracks here. And then we have the boozy punk rocker I'm Scum, which definitely is one example of how not only does this album's lyrics delve into some themes that are definitely very serious and definitely showing some intelligence, but also some of the lyrics on this album are also like really hilarious too. On this track, which, for example, on this track, which is told from the perspective of someone who is basically a total and utter coward who like overtips the waiter and stuff like that. It's definitely just pure British punk gold, not just in terms of its lyrics and its energy, but also you can hear the like very thick accent in his, and and Joe's voice, which I'm definitely a junkie for those kind of accents in my music. Music, and also this is definitely one of the catchiest songs on the album, like in the moments where there's that and the hi shouts, and of course a fantastic chorus too. There are some references on this album to members of Joe Talbot's family, like on the song Danny Nedelko, which is another one of the singles from this record, talking about his brother, who is a Ukraine immigrant, as well as sort of as well as sort of showing Talbot's appreciation for like a diversity of different races and like sexes and a lot of different people. So this is definitely a record that, yeah, could inspire those people who still feel kind of oppressed by the public a little bit, whether you're someone of a different race or if you're like or if you're an LGBTQ member. This is the kind of album that, yeah, will likely inspire you, like on this track. And also, this song has one of the best choruses on this record. I feel the band has really gotten better at creating some really angry yet joyful choruses, like on this song. And the song has a pretty funny bridge, You can hear him spelling out the name of Danny Nedelko, but I can also hear him actually spell out an F-bomb on this track, which is really funny to hear. I didn't really notice that until like a couple of listens in on this record. And another song that I definitely one song that I definitely want to mention that I think is really good and seems very relevant to our times right now is the song Samaritans, which is this blistering jab at masculinity and sort of talking about why that's the reason you rarely see your father cry, even though we all want people to show their emotions, right? And its lyrics are basically like, men feel like they're being told how to feel by people who are sort of telling them, man up, drink up, and don't whine, and stuff like that. And hearing Joe Talbot just shout these phrases is like, is just like really clever. Just really clever. I mean, only somebody with him would have the guts to say something like, "Grow some balls," he said. "Grow some balls." I love it. Yeah, and of course when I mention it, I have to do it in the accent. And also I really like the point in the song where it takes a familiar chorus, that chorus of "I kissed a girl and I liked it," but making it instead a guy singing, I kissed a boy and I liked it. And hearing him just like unashamedly shout that, like he just doesn't doesn't give a care about it, is just like, I gotta give him props for it. Though there is a little bit of room for actual joy in its lyrics. There is one love song on here. Of course, that's the track "Love Song," which may be one of the most kick-ass love songs I've heard in 2018. In 2018, which is like about his wife, and he's sort of talking about how sympathetic of a person he is about people, sort of saying like, it's not just the sex I want, but I want to be like your friend and be understanding of you and all of that. And the chorus when he's shouting, This mother love is definitely one of the most rewarding moments here. The moments on here, it definitely really does show that, and it definitely has a kind of dark, but it also has kind of a darkness to it, which actually kind of reminds me of that latest Proto-Martyr album a little bit. Like, I think moments on here, like that intro, definitely are comparable to like something Proto-Martyr could have done. Which I would say that band shares some similar traits, although not quite as heavy. But probably one subject on this album that will tug at your heartstrings more than any other on Joy as an Act of Resistance are the songs about Joe Talbot's stillborn daughter. The first of those being the song June, which is probably the calmest track on here musically, but definitely heavy on the heart thematically. It's a song that, yeah, I didn't really, it's a song that, may not have, hit me completely emotionally when I first heard it, but then when I found out it was about his daughter, now when I listen to it, it's a very emotional experience for me. It's the song basically just has a few blunt kind of lines, which are, dreams could be so cruel sometimes, I swear I kissed your crying eyes, as well as a line that talks about how he still has some baby shoes that him and his wife got for the child that, the child unfortunately never got to wear. But it's just like a gorgeous ballad, I would say. I really like how the band sort of allows room for lyrics to shine through and kind of takes a little break from the madness for a little bit. But though it does have a really cool kind of noisy, melancholy bridge in there. Then we have the song Television, which is a little more high energy, but still sort of makes some references, to his daughter a little bit. And I love how the band sort of, kind of takes the anger and kind of shows how they're resisting it with joy in a really good way, which is why I think Joy as an Act of Resistance was exactly the perfect title for this record, and it also says everything about the band overall, I think. I think first, incredible chorus on there, and also there definitely is also some very inspirational sort of lyrics going on this track too. Sort of telling everybody to love themselves, despite of kind of the little errors that have gone on in their life. And then we have a stream of some shorter tracks on here. The song Great, which I definitely consider another highlight on here. I think actually every track on this album is a favorite. The song Great sort of makes some references to how stuff like taxes and stuff like that have kind of negatively affected some people and some things. I don't remember the last time I heard a reference in a punk rock song to overpriced items at a grocery store. And of course and also there's some very clever poeticisms, like the lines of Islam didn't eat your hamster, and also the chorus, which spells out the word great, definitely is another great example of the band's ability to make even spelling out just a word in a part of the song make sound so fantastic. Fantastic. And it's definitely a great pop song underneath all the kind of punk rock noise and distortion. The song Glam Rock definitely also has some very unlikely references that you would hear in a punk rock song. Like, there's one verse where it's literally 10 points for Gryffindor, making a reference to one of the, groups or houses at Hogwarts, of course, from Harry Potter. You all know that. All know that, and I love how the song maintains similar kind of brutal madness that songs like "Never Fight a Man with a Perm" did. The whooshing rhythm guitars over the amazing drumming definitely is a very incredible combination, and a really neat guitar solo at the end too. And the song also has a very unique song structure. Most song structures would be like verse, chorus, but this song is literally chorus, chorus, a verse, and just a little bit at the end. But yet it really works, and it doesn't feel inconsistent like some songs in that structure tend to feel. There is one cover song on here, which is the song "Cry to Me," which is, I think, an old soul song, but putting a punk rock spin on it definitely sounds really nice. For a little bit of time, this was my least favorite track on the record, but it has, since grown on me. And it actually fits the album really well. It's sort of saying, yeah, don't you feel like crying? Because, we are kind of in a state right now where the headlines kind of, make us want to, react kind of emotionally to it. And you're just sort of feeling kind of put down by your peers and whatnot. It actually suits this album really well. And his vocal performance is really incredible on here, I would say. And then, of course, we get the blistering closing track, Rottweiler, which is also another very ambitious song on the record. The first and last songs on this record are the album's longest tracks, and also the two most ambitious tracks. And there's some pretty and there are some pretty simple lyrics on here, but still it's all that the song really needs. And also, I love how it shows the band's ability to just jam it out in the studio. Another example of the band not letting those producers, try to overrule them, just doing what they want and having fun with it. And the part where they're just jamming out is just incredible, and I am just I'm throwing my head around the room the whole time they're doing it. And some really cool guitar solos and some killer drumming on there too. And then the song closes out with a really crazy outro, which is basically it slows down a little bit, and Joe Talbot is just telling them, keep going, unity, yeah. He's just doing it away from the microphone. He is just freaking out, and I love it. And also, it sounds as though the band is jamming inside of a burning building. So you can hear the noise and all the weird vocal noises and stuff like that. And it sounds as though the band sounds even though the environment around them may be on fire, they're still just jamming the hell out until the very end, when all you hear is this feedback. Back. Yeah, pretty amazing record. I definitely can't say enough nice things about it. I don't have one criticism to say about it. It's definitely, I think, a very necessary record for 2018, and it's definitely great that majority of the critics are really catching on to this album, which does include some of my peers a little bit. For example, people like the Needle Drop, along with my man Philip from Uprocks, put this in his year-end list too. It's definitely one of the most critically acclaimed rock albums of the year. year. So again, killer lyrics, fantastic production and energy, very powerful vocal performances throughout. Just a very solid record. So, my score for this album is, wait for it, 9.5 out of 10. Yep. High score for me on this review. I just can't recommend this album enough. That's my review of the new album by IDLES, Joy as an Act of Resistance. I'll see you for episode 224. Unity!